Yeah, well, the U.S. has been pretty remarkable, as I indicated in my earlier comment. I mean, essentially the same population pool pretty much, and they've garnered over this 215-year period a remarkable share of the world's wealth. And it's an interesting question as to just why this group of people here have been able to do so much better than the rest of the world, considering we're not any smarter or anything of the sort. It's not an economic castle anymore. I wouldn't call it that. What we do is no secret. And I think that the relative importance of America, I mean, we have been a dominant factor in the world in post-World War II, and I think it will decline somewhat, although I'm not an alarmist on that. But I think to some extent the rest of the world, or much of the rest of, or some of the rest of the world, is catching on and adopting sort of best practices, as they say in industry. And our castle will grow in size, but there will be more castles around it, and I basically think that's a very good thing for the world. I think the more prosperous generally the rest of the world is, the better generally it will be for us. And I've talked about our trade problems. The more trade we have, the better. We had 1.1 trillion of real trade last year in the country. We would have with the world, and then we had another 600 billion, 6/10 of a trillion, that unilaterally we bought. Well, I would love to see the 1.1 trillion grow and grow and grow. It'd be good for us and good for the rest of the world. But I don't think that our prosperity will come in the future will come at the expense of the rest of the world at all. I do think that there were parts of the world that will grow economically from a lower base, but much faster than the U.S. And basically, I think that's a good thing. I mean, there's 6 billion people in this world, and a lot of them don't live very well. And I would hope that 20 or 50 years from now, that a higher percentage of them would live well, but I don't think it comes out of our hide at all. Charlie?
Well, I don't think it comes out of our hide in that sense, but if we're Well, I don't think it comes out of our hide in that sense, but if we are now the richest and most powerful nation in the world, and 50 or 100 years from now, we're now the richest and most powerful nation in the world, and 50 or 100 years from now, we're a poor third to some country in Asia. Sure, we're richer, but it's a peculiar type of richness where you've lost your relative position in the world. It's not all. I think if I had to bet, I would bet that the part of the world that does best is Asia in terms of percentage gains per annum, and I think it might do amazingly well if it doesn't blow up in some way. And if it does amazingly well, it will eventually be a much richer place than ours.
My understanding is that the University of Florida has instituted a couple of courses that actually Mason Hawkins gave them a significant amount of money to finance, and I believe they're teaching something other than efficient markets there. There's a very good course at Columbia, I know, that it gets a lot of visiting teachers to come in. I go in there and teach occasionally, but a number of practitioners do. So I think the efficient market theory is less wholly writ now than it was 15 or 20 years ago in universities, but there's a lot of it taught. But I think you can find more diversity in what is being offered now than 10 or 20 years ago. And I'd recommend looking into those two schools. It's really quite useful. If you had a merchant shipping business, if all of your competitors believe the world is flat, it is a huge edge, because they will not take on any cargo to go to places that are beyond where they think they will fall off. And so we should be encouraging the teaching of efficient market theories in universities.